Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome everybody back to another video on the channel. Hope you're doing well. In today's video, we've got 10 major tips and tricks in PUBG. They're going to help you to get better at the game pretty dramatically. Now, a lot of people have been picking up PUBG recently, whether on PC, on console, or even mobile, and these tips are going to apply to whatever you're playing on, and they are meant for players who are like at least somewhat familiar with the game already, but maybe now you're looking to hone in on your skills a little bit and just sort of become a cut above the average player, and this video is going to help you out a lot. So I'm also going to be doing a giveaway in this video, 3 months free of Xbox Game Pass, and it's going to be given away to one of you guys. If you want to enter the giveaway, all you got to do is leave a like rating and subscribe if you are new to the channel. My analytics show that around 75% of my viewers aren't currently subscribed, so if that is one of you, definitely make sure to sub up and it would help out a lot. And in the comment section down below, make sure to leave another useful PUBG tip that I didn't include in this video for other players to go and look at, and that's how we're picking out the winner in the comment section. But anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed the video today. Let's get into the top 10 advanced tips and tricks in PUBG to help you get better at the game. So coming today at the number 10 spot is a bit of knowledge about healing items. Now, I'm not sure if this is widely known, but energy drinks are basically the best healing item in the game. And why, you may ask? Painkillers unfortunately take up way too much space in your backpack. They're way too heavy, and they weigh as much as a first aid kit. You can carry around way more energy drinks, and they're also quicker to use. Now, you might say that painkillers do give you more boost per use, and that's true, but typically I like to pop just 2 energy drinks instead of 1 painkiller. It's a little bit more efficient this way, and I would say that in most gunfights is probably the safer option. Now, again, I'm not saying that there isn't reason to carry painkillers, as sometimes that's all you can find, but given ample amount of time and resources, energy drinks I would always prioritize over painkillers, as they are just way easier to use in the heat of battle, and they don't require as much commitment to get one off. I would also carry adrenaline syringes very easily over painkillers as well, but have both at the same time, as adrenalines are quite heavy themselves, so you want a little bit of a lighter option. But painkillers are generally considered the worst healing item in the game, although again, there is use for them. Moving on, and coming in at tip number 9 is going to be getting familiar with drive-bys from vehicles. Now, this is a technique that allows you to be much safer when using any sort of vehicle that has a seat that can be swapped to. Now, typically you want to do this in one with a roof or some side coverings to cover yourself, but this technique, while you're driving, swapping to the passenger seat and then aiming out the window, is going to allow you to fend for yourself while continuously moving in that car to wherever your destination is. It not only makes the traveling a lot easier, but it actually makes you a dangerous presence on the battlefield rather than just the threat of running someone over. You can actually take people out from range now. This technique does require a little bit of practice, so if you're trying to get good at it, I would recommend jumping into the training ground mode where there's plenty of vehicles and you can have unlimited time essentially to go and practice this technique. Another tip to make drive-bys easier for you is that weapons with faster bullet velocity are generally going to be better for this sort of thing, as it's kind of difficult to lead shots when you're, when your target is moving and also you yourself are moving as well. It can be really difficult to do that, so I recommend usually 5.56 AR. Stay away from things like 7.62 and especially SMGs with 9mm. Any slow moving bullets usually isn't the play. Coming today at tip number 8 is going to be timing your grenades properly. So this is something I highly recommend getting good at, because grenades are such a part of the meta, and especially in the late game nowadays, that it's going to be extremely valuable for you to learn how these work. The best thing you could do is get comfortable enough with them. When using grenades, you're not panicked into throwing it immediately, and you have options of where you want to take it. You can throw it higher or lower, and you can wait it out, sort of using it as like an airburst grenade. And this is like, timing is literally everything in grenades in PUBG. So instead of just instantly chucking them out as soon as you pull one, make sure to cook it for a little bit and really think about exactly where your placement is going to be. And I promise you, even putting any amount of effort into this is going to get you a lot more grenade kills than you were getting previously. Coming today at tip number 7 is another pretty interesting one to implement, and this is utilizing all of your movement options while healing. Now, there are some cases in which you shouldn't move too much while healing, and there are some other cases where an exaggerated movement option is going to be your best bet, and you really have to play the game a little bit and get some experience to figure out where it is and how to ride that fine line. But generally speaking, when caught in open fields, it's best to have the most exaggerated movement possible. You can crouch spam, you can lean back and forth a little bit in order to avoid a lethal headshot. However, in situations where you're up and peeking a window, you usually don't want to move around too much, otherwise you could expose the part of your body that can be hit, and then you might just get taken out because of that. However, the best thing you can do is judge it case by case of what situation you're in and where is the nearest cover to you and the angle that you're being shot at from. This will generally guide you on how much you should be moving during that healing process, just to stay a little bit more safe, and it will actually end up saving you a lot more than you think if you implement it correctly. Tip number 6 is going to help you utilize your aggression in game and to take advantage in gunfights. So whether you're in a solo, duo, or squad gunfight, it's really important to use every piece of equipment and weapon to your advantage to utilize the situation to push the advantage and to force your opponent to make a mistake, because the longer it takes for you to apply adequate pressure, the odds will increase that your opponent will be able to reposition and outsmart you. Sometimes applying pressure doesn't even necessarily mean you have to hit your opponent. Sometimes throwing bullets just towards their general direction will cause them to panic and make a mistake that you can easily take advantage of. A lot of times this will happen if you're fighting an opponent that's on a tree and they are able to get adequate position behind it where you cannot hit them, but you shoot a bullet near their feet so they think that you have a line of sight on them, causing them to shift over left or right, and then you can actually shoot them. This is a trick that gets people all of the time, but the general concept is to apply as much pressure as possible while keeping safe and forcing your opponent to make a move, and generally 9 times out of 10 they're going to make a mistake. Tip number 5 is going to be utilizing all of your movement options to control your sound. So player movement and the way that you project sound because of that movement is very important in this game. Clearly running around is going to make the most noise and make you easily detectable to your enemies. There's a lot of ways you can mitigate your own sound though. Crouch walking and even leaning while crouching will pretty much immediately slow any momentum as well as sound that you have. This is especially useful for flanking buildings and trying to figure out if somebody's below you or above you in a vertical building. It's also important to recognize if your character has shoes or not, and they've changed the way this works. If you've played PUBG a long time ago, the non-shoe character and shoed character make 2 different noises, and that still kind of is the case, but only at a certain distance. If they're close enough, the sounds are going to be different, but farther away they're going to be identical. But just getting used to taking control of your character and knowing how much noise you're putting out and when you should be making a lot of noise and when you should be silent is a big part of learning this game. Coming in at tip number 4 is going to be related to inventory management and some interesting techniques you can use to make this more efficient for yourself. So inventory management is one of the most important aspects to PUBG and becoming a good player. Luckily, there's a few little tips and tricks that you can utilize that's going to make your looting significantly more efficient. So if you didn't know, in your invent there's a keybind, and it's different on keyboard and controller, but you can actually split whatever loot you're looking at, whether it's ammo or meds, directly in half, so you don't have to drop all of it. Maybe just give half to a teammate. You can also pick up 2 items at the same time by right-clicking the first one and then swiping the second. Now, no PUBG player is perfect at looting, and every once in a while you're going to miss like an attachment or some other component that you probably could need, and that's going to happen. But as long as you're not rushing yourself and you're paying attention as much as possible, you should be able to get all of the loot that you actually need and be able to leave all of the scraps behind. Coming today at tip number 3 is going to be the jiggle peek technique. So this allows you to essentially peek your enemies and to put on lethal headshots without exposing much of your body for hardly any time at all. It's going to make it way harder for your enemies to even put any damage out while pretty much giving you non-restricted gunplay. Now, if you're able to implement this technique properly, you can be an extremely difficult target to hit. However, if implemented incorrectly, you can make more mistakes than you otherwise would if you were just trying to, peek an enemy normally. I strongly recommend that you just get comfortable with this movement technique before you even try to implement it into your gunfighting mechanics as well, because if you try to put the cart before the horse, it's not going to go well and it'll end up just kind of being pointless. You can also implement the jiggle peek upon each shot, and I see some players utilizing this, and a lot of them swear that it helps cut down on recoil, although it's not one that I tend to really use often, and I don't really find myself ever trying to do this. But you can try it out if you like to, and if it feels comfortable and natural, then implement it into your gameplay. But if not, don't worry about it. Coming in today at tip number 2 is a pretty interesting one, and I can almost guarantee you really haven't seen this anywhere before. So drop shotting in PUBG is not like it is in other games. However, it is still useful sometimes and still viable. But the problem with drop shotting in PUBG is that the mechanic that allows you to hit the ground will also move your gun in the process. Like, for example, when ADS and going into prone from a standing position, you can see that your gun moves wildly to the right side, and even if you're aiming that way, it's still going to go completely off of your target. However, as you can see, if done from crouch, your gun does not move to the left or right nearly as violently as it does from standing, and this actually allows you to drop shot if you do it from crouch in a very particular timed manner. You have to do it in a very tight window of how you actually queue up your actions. You have to crouch and then basically ADS at the same time as you initiate your prone, and you pretty much don't get any gun sway whatsoever. It's pretty cool. Now, finally, guys, coming in today at the number 1 spot is going to be one of many movement techniques that we're going to be talking about in the future, and this is simply one that you can utilize into your gameplay almost immediately, and this is the B-hop. Now, ever since PUBG changed the movement mechanics where you could basically spam jumps to fly up a hill, something interesting happened as a side effect. You're now able to queue up jumps initially as you hit the ground and maintain your momentum going in any direction. Now, as you can see, when implementing this jump technique, you can keep momentum in literally any direction while making sure that your camera can be anywhere at all. So you can track enemies, you can outrun the zone while still looking behind you, you can look to the side while still going in a different direction. It's an incredibly crucial tool to any good player's arsenal of how they get around in PUBG PUBG, and I really recommend actually trying to get good at this. This, among other many interesting movement techniques that we're going to talk about in future videos, are something that every good player should have at their disposal. But I definitely wanted to start with this one because I just feel as if it's one of the most important, if not the most important movement technique you have. But anyways, guys, those are going to be the top 10 major tips to help you get better at PUBG. I really hope you found these useful, and I hope that these help. If they did, please make sure to like the video, subscribe if you're brand new, and then also if you guys want to enter the giveaway, make sure to do those things that I mentioned at the beginning, and I'll be picking out a winner very soon. I also stream almost every day over on Twitch, sometimes PUBG, but not always. If you want to just come over and say hi, I would really appreciate that. Links in the description down below. And if you guys want to use my PUBG creator code, that is also going to be linked in the description down below. You can log in and select my name for the creator appreciation program, and it goes a long way helping the channel, so thank you guys so much. And let me know if you do end up using the code so that I can personally thank you. But make sure to subscribe and stick around for more tips and tricks videos, many more to come, so stay tuned. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you guys so much for watching again, and I'll see you all in the next live stream or the next video. Take it easy, everybody, and peace out.